Chefs, what's happening? Cam here, welcome to another live video. Hope we are all good. Starting off our week this week on an old Monday morning, I want to share three massive lessons from the weekend that I've just had. And this is stuff that's really going to resonate with you, chef, if you're really struggling with your stress levels, if you're at a point where you're in a mentally dark place, and really stuck in a rut, you'll take a huge amount from these three lessons. So the bigger problem that I see, chef, obviously for you watching this is, and this is something that I experience from time to time as well, is that stress is a killer. Stress is an absolute killer, you know. Constantly in a cycle of just working your fucking hole off. And when you're in where you apply that pressure to yourself, which a lot of chefs do, or that pressure is applied to you from the service and the people that you're working with, or just the environment that you're in, and that stress is then mounted on because of the amount of hours that are being done, and generally the unhealthy lifestyle, you can end up very stuck in a rut, and especially if you've got relationships and families and other responsibilities outside the kitchen as well, you end up very stressed and you can end up suffering with bouts of depression on a consistent basis. And I know for me that stress is a massive part of what I do. You know what I mean? It's a thing that I can mitigate and that I exercise to deal with, and I meditate to deal with, and I plan things out as best I can to reduce stress, and I take good care of myself to avoid it. But at the end of the day, we all experience it to some degree. It's a massive fucking problem. And it's a massive problem in a way that I see a lot of chefs, especially older guys who have an old school mentality, that they're extremely hard working, but they're programmed to, and this is an example for you. I was coaching a guy who was literally programmed to put work before everything else. He was the head chef in a small place in the country in Ireland, and he was working 80 to 90 hours a week. And he ended up having to have some kind of surgery. He had a minor stroke, I believe it was, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. You know what I mean? He was in hospital for 4 days over and couldn't figure out what was wrong. And the doctor had put it down to stress. So he was forced to take a week or two to recover from this minor surgery that he had, or the minor stroke that he'd had, and sort himself out. And the very day that he was out of hospital and coming out of hospital, you're talking someone that was bedbound for a week and a half, forcibly bedbound. And when he came out of hospital, the first thing that he had to do, not go home. Josh Barnes, what's happening, brother? Not go home and relax and spend time with family and fucking, take a bit of time to decompress and de-stress what had happened. His first port of call was to go in and cover service. He had to go in and cover a service, and he's straight back in to do a double breakfast, you know what I mean? A breakfast split. So he's starting on a breakfast shift at 6:30 in the morning, and then he's the only person in the fucking kitchen because someone else has walked out. And then he's working all the way through the morning, all the way through the day, and then he's finishing until close at night, which is probably fucking 10, 11 o'clock at night. Now, that for me is a stark outline of what most chefs do to themselves. They are martyrs to the cause, and it's not their fault because they're pretty much programmed to do it. You know what I mean? You have that mindset yourself. I had that mindset back in the day, that I actually felt guilty about putting myself first. I felt guilty about, not looking. I felt guilty when work was put on the back burner, which is the wrong fucking mindset. And taking it back to the point of this video, nice one for that, Josh. Taking it back to the point of this video, this weekend, me and Ella went away into the countryside, a place called Wilson's Prom, and it's in the state of Victoria in Australia, and it is the middle of fucking nowhere, and it is gorgeous countryside, like really nice countryside. And we'd booked a house with a couple of friends to stay in an Airbnb, rented a fucking Jeep, and we went down. And to be honest, cost of it didn't really cost us as much as we nearly thought it was, and at the end of the day it was very worth it. But the lesson was this: the place is in the middle of fucking nowhere, and we arrived at the house and I looked at my phone, and on the phone there was no bars of signal, no data, and instantaneously I'm like, fuck, got no data, I got no internet, what the fuck am I going to do? You know what I mean? What am I going to do? And that instant stress of like, oh shit, this isn't my comfort zone anymore. I don't have my regular comforts that I have on a daily basis. Fast forward 2 days, life became very simple. We spent days hiking, we spent days going to the beach and fucking swimming, and then we'd have a couple of drinks at night and play some cards or have a bit of crack. You know what I mean? It was very simple, very black and white. And I noticed in my own mind driving back last night, that I'd never felt more at ease, more relaxed, more at peace. And there's a lesson in this for you, that in that not having the data, not having internet, and not really having any access to technology, and the only thing that we were doing was driving around, seeing the sights, fucking hiking, getting our bodies in motion, and having a laugh. That I was never more in the moment. You know what I mean? I was very, very, very in the moment, and I wasn't distracted. I wasn't looking at different types of shit. I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't feeling that, creeping anxiety that I'm not getting something done. I was totally at ease. I was totally at peace. And big three lessons for a lot of us to take away from this is, first and foremost, number one is to change your environment. I never knew that if I just went somewhere really quiet and really remote where there's no fucking, I can't access the same shit. We spend all day getting distracted by our phones, scrolling through Instagram, waiting for that next dopamine hit, hoping a like rolls in, looking through Facebook or looking through fucking YouTube. That's what a lot of us spend free time doing, and it's a waste of time and it doesn't really lead to anything. So if you put yourself in a place where, you're not distracted by anything, and it is beautiful and you're forced to be involved in it, that is the first massive lesson, because that's what really put me at ease in the first place. The second lesson is this, is to remove distraction and get active. For me on that weekend, it's like in the hike, it wasn't about a holiday. Like for a lot of us, we come back from holidays wanting another fucking holiday because we spend so much of it on the piss, eating shit food, not taking care of ourselves. And it's like, no, like spend the 2 days. We went hiking. It was yesterday. I was swimming at this beach for 4 hours. Just these waves were incredible. I'd never fucking had anything like it. Crystal white sand. And the waves were just smashing us overhead. And it was great fun, And then you're kind of sitting on the beach and then going back into the water. And it's like getting active and doing shit that actually gets your body in motion is absolutely gigantic. And for a lot of you, once you change that environment, don't just use it as an excuse to do fuck all and sit there drinking and whatever else. It's like use it as a chance to get your body in motion, because we all know motion is lotion at the end of the day. So once you change the environment and you're removing those distractions and you're getting your body active, boom, there you go. The last big lesson, and this isn't just about what you need to do, the big lesson is to take time to put yourself first, to take time to put yourself first. And this is a mindset that a lot of us need to get our heads wrapped around, and something that I really struggled with for a long fucking time. Thinking that life was one of those things that other people lived, thinking that life was one of those things that, oh, well, that's reserved for people who do 9 to 5s. They've got work-life balance. I don't get work-life balance. Sure, I work harder than them. I don't need that. That was the mindset that I used to have. And that you don't deserve to have the good things in life. You should work every weekend. You should work every bank holiday. You should work every Christmas Day, every Christmas Eve. You should work every fucking holiday there is. And everyone else gets their holidays, but you don't. And you should work harder than they do, and you should work more than they do. And fuck it, you don't need the money to show for it. You don't need the income to show for it. You don't need the job satisfaction to show for it. You just do it because that's what you're supposed to do. That was my mindset for so long, and you're made feel like a piece of shit if you ever put yourself first, or you put the things in your life as a priority. And the big lesson for me is that you must do that to survive. You must put yourself first at times. There is times where work must be prioritized and you must be pushing to do something or achieve something. But if you want to survive as a human being, there has to be a period of time where you go, do you know what? I'm putting it on the fucking back burner. Book a fucking sick day off and go somewhere. You know what I mean? Get in your car, go and drive somewhere for a weekend. Book it off. They don't like it. It's like if someone's not willing to give you 2 days to your own fucking headspace at some point along the line, something's very wrong there. And I would question whether you need to be working for someone like that in the first place or not. But if you're killing yourself every day of the week and you don't take sick days, and you're looked down upon if you ever call in sick, it's like that's a massive fucking issue. So the last lesson is to put yourself first. And the reason that you put yourself first is that you're not that old school chef that I explained at the start of the video who came straight out of having a stroke and straight back into the kitchen. That guy, unfortunately, is running himself towards an early grave, and he's probably not far away from it. And it's not his fault. He's programmed himself to do it, but there has to be some self-awareness along the line of where you're going wrong. But you do not want to be the chef who's fucking 45 and dies of a heart attack, because you're so stressed out, because you've been breaking your bollocks for someone else for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. Like, that's not where you want to be. It's not where you want to be. There has to be a balance. There has to be a time where you are put first and you must watch your own headspace and decompress. There's also a time where you make the push. But understand that this is a consolidation of stressors. To push on one thing, you must pull back on the other, and so forth. So there is times for yourself. You must take that time to yourself. There is times for work. You must take that time. But if it's 99% work, 1% you, at somewhere along the line, life is going to bite you in the arse. And I promise you that, chefs. So take those 3 lessons and really try and apply them and try and identify, and I'll give you a practical bit of advice, is trying to identify some time in the future. Identify some time in the future if you can take some time. If you feel that you're in this rut right now of extreme stress, really struggling with your mental health, really struggling with your physical health, I would suggest that it's like, what weekend can you take? What weekend can you take in March? What weekend can you take in April? Get your missus or get your family or get whoever the fuck, get in the car and go somewhere quiet, remote, away from distraction, where you're totally in the moment with the people that you care about, and you're actually experiencing something different than the reality that you have on a daily basis. Doing things like that a couple of times a year will fucking save your life, I promise you that. It will save your fucking life. Whereas if we don't, and we don't think we deserve it, that's the issue, isn't it? And I suppose that's the message of what we're trying to do, is that you do deserve it. Chefs do deserve better. You do deserve a life that's worth fucking living. You know what I mean? Don't kill yourself for someone else. Live your life right now. If you have any feedback on this, chefs, and if you feel, let me know in the comments, and that's what I want you to do, is that if you feel that you're at a point where you've always put work first, that you've always put yourself on the back burner, let me know how you actually feel. Let me know what levels of stress you experience. And here's the last question. When was the last time that you truly felt relaxed? When's the last time that you truly felt decompressed? That you weren't thinking about work, you weren't thinking about the dish, you weren't overthinking something else. When's the last time you actually felt truly at peace? I'd be interested to hear that from you, chef, because I know for me, it had been years, it had been years since I felt that. Anyway, thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and you're watching it live. Stay safe, much love.